My name is Pete Sclafani. I'm the COO of SixConnect. We're a network automation software company. We've got a variety of clients all over the world. And my talk today is on a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, how to learn to stop worrying and love IPv6. It's been a long, hard road. IPv6 has been around for a while. It has not been in production as long as some other systems, but it's something it's coming, and we've been in a really unique position to get a DevOps perspective on this over the last few years. So SixConnect started in 2009, working almost exclusively with service providers and some enterprises. We just wanted to build tools to help automate a lot of these infrastructure problems. What ended up happening was we started managing data centers. We started managing our own cloud. We started managing PDUs. We started managing storage. And then we realized, oh my gosh, we have to automate all this stuff. And then we realized, oh my gosh, we have clients that are using IPv6 in production. We need to automate that stuff. So that made life really interesting for us. So what to worry about? IPv6, it's new, kind of. I don't want to re-IP everything because everything's currently working. And if it's dual stack, that means I have two networks. That doesn't sound like fun to me. And also compatibility. I'm looking for checkboxes. Sometimes I don't see them. So what's happening now, which is great, it's actually a global thing. It's not just something in North America. It's something global and worldwide, which is always good. Vendors are finally focusing on compatibility. It can coexist with IPv4, and it gets some really nice tricks that you can do as a result, which is like direct relationships between objects on a network. Yeah, so here's the thing. Reality check for phase one for us was, yep, users are using it. Mobile devices, Verizon, T-Mobile, so many carriers are doing this stuff. Comcast is rolling it out. And it's not just North America. So again, it's something that your users, in terms of your application users, are probably already using v6. So it's something to keep in mind as you're looking at this type of technology and protocol. I think Apple App Store is also requiring IPv6 support I think in July of this year. Also, realization. So we worked really hard to look at if we're going to deploy v6 in our own core network and our own components in our own application, how do we define and prioritize? We looked at who's using it, remote workers, people, remote customers, what systems are they reaching us from? In our case, we started looking at customers were asking us, when are we going to get a Quad A record on our website? This was 5 years ago. That was always a good discussion. And also, we started seeing DNS requests. So people were sending Quad A requests, doing v6 lookups, and we're like, yep, we don't have a response. So we started going after how can we keep this shift with IPv6 and how do we keep tying that back to APIs. And IPv6 was actually a nice driver for us there. It allowed us to push on vendors and lean hard to say, hey, look, we need the compatibility and it's got to work. So we had to pick our battles, though. So we had to look at what are some high priority areas that we can use IPv6 for. So is it for our own cloud? Great. Is it for our application? Is it for the local application? We also had to identify the right technical and business stakeholders. Marketing was actually a really helpful use case for this because we could actually get more intelligence as a result of understanding what IPs our customers were visiting our website from. So one of the things we also did was understanding the application, understanding our stack, talking to vendors very directly, and also personnel skills. When we got into planning, this was a lot more fun. We have a very DevOps culture, I guess, but also there's a lot of network history with us since we are a very network-focused company. So the applications that came as a result were a lot of NetOps as well as DevOps and combining those together. One of the things we did with our first project was monitoring. v4 and v6 are obviously one of those protocols could be down, for example, for connectivity, but the service is still up. Monitoring systems didn't really handle that very well, and I don't think they still do. We had to do a lot of finagling to get those to work correctly. Other things we did was just revamping our contact forms on the website, being able to do some geolocation and basic whois lookups to at least give you some better idea of what's happening with the customers when they're logging in and getting in data. v4 only information wasn't accurate. v6 is giving you some more data points there. And then finally, our last phase was actually looking at our application for our own software as a service product, and then actually tying that back into a dual stack environment as well. So doing v4 and v6, running it in production across multiple data centers, doing replication. That was fun. Finally, phase 4, sparkles, ponies, and more. We created feedback loops for all these v6 components. So in other words, monitoring, how's it working, how's it not working, provisioning, that was another fun one, configuration efficiencies, and even documentation was huge because right now, a wiki is great, but it's fairly static if people aren't contributing content to it. And finally, education. So looking at how do we have user and admins not only educating people, but if we bring on an intern, if we bring on new employees, how do we teach them about IPv6 and how it works and how it impacts the business? And also communication. Sometimes FUD is an approach. We don't like that. We actually appreciate more transparency. We demand that from our vendors. And that's what we like for our employees. So I'm very happy to have our weekly staff meeting with our team and discuss things about like, hey, here's what marketing metrics or analytics are happening, and here's how your work on the product affects them. So yeah, that's IPv6 in a nutshell, how we learned to love it. Pete Sclafani, Pete at 6Connect, if you guys want to talk shop. Thank you very much. I have stickers of these as well. Thank you.